Hello. I read your writing journals this week, and I'm putting this video together so that I can address some of the concerns that folks have. I hope that you can watch this video, understand what I'm looking for the assignment, and make some strong revisions. So first, some folks asked about the sources for the assignment. And so let me be clear. In this assignment, you are going to provide a combination of anecdotal, real-world personal experience examples and research-based examples. The anecdotal examples serve to kind of build relationships with the audience, and the research-based examples serve to further buttress the claims that you're making. So you're going to have a combination in your project. Other folks asked about the structure or organization. And I know that for some folks, you're working from this kind of generic 5-paragraph model, and I'm not necessarily asking for that. In fact, I think the best way of thinking about your project is to think that each of the paragraphs that you provide is building a small argument for a single claim. So your first paragraph is really building a small argument for the existence of the myth. The next paragraph is giving the position that you have about that myth. And so you're just thinking that this paper is a series of claims. Each paragraph is a claim. It is possible that you may have a couple of small paragraphs that are really just providing a personal experience or something. And so that paragraph, that example is a paragraph unto itself, but it's still providing support for a claim that you're making. Remember that in general, you're building an argument. And so really, it's a series of claims. As I've looked at your rough drafts, I've noticed that a lot of people have buried their claims, or it seems that in the paragraph they're a little unsure what claim they're thinking about for that paragraph. And so really the rule of thumb is make sure you get those claims up front, and that should help you organize your piece. If you take a look at the prompt, right, I gave this little kind of example argument right here, and if we broke this example argument down, we could see that we could develop one paragraph for each of the claims in there. Other folks asked about tone and style. This is really important because I'm grading on the rhetorical effectiveness. So you do want to think about what tone and style is going to work for the MiraCosta audience. And so beware, I'm not asking for a paper that comes across as an academic piece of writing. I'm asking for an op-ed that's addressing a real audience. So you can be a little bit more informal. You can be conversational. You can ask questions. You can use language that the MiraCosta audience would be familiar with. So please take that into consideration. With regard to how you build credibility, it goes back to the answer that my response to the last question. You want to think about a real audience, and you want to think about how you can connect with them. At the same time, you need to make sure that you're building a logical argument. So credibility is established both by the rhetorical choices that you make with regard to relating to the audience and with the more specific logical choices that you make. You have to make sure that if you're making a claim, you're bringing in research-based support for that claim. When we're thinking about formatting, I am not interested in a works cited page or MLA documentation. Instead, I imagine that if you're going to bring in research, you're going to introduce the research in text. That is, that you can write sentences like, according to Sam Smith in his recent article in the New York Times, and then you can provide the evidence that you want to use. Note that when we bring in the according to move, we're actually citing, we're being fair to where the information is coming from, but we're not using any of the parenthetical statements or any of the other stuff that's associated with MLA. When you actually format your paper and you give it to me, I would like it to look like this. You'll have a title, you'll have your name, you'll give me your op-ed single-spaced, and then at the very end of your op-ed, I'm asking that you guys provide hyperlinks to the materials that you've used in your paper. That way, if need be, I can click on the link and take a look at the research you were using. So once again, you're just going to give me a title, your name, provide the op-ed, and at the bottom, I don't need a works cited, I just want the hyperlinks. I hope that that clarifies. Finally, if you're still uncertain about whether or not it's working, you can always do a couple of little tricks. The first one you can think of is to reverse engineer your piece. So take your paper and take out a highlighter and highlight the claims. And if you can't find claims, well, then make sure that you clarify or add those claims. Then you can go back through and you can say, okay, here's the claim, and now do I see that I have support, both anecdotal and research-based, for the individual claims I'm making. So it's as if you're taking the final product and you're turning it back into an outline. That's one little thing that could potentially help. And then the other thing you may want to do is try to read as an audience member. So remember, you are a MiraCosta student. You are the audience. And so you can think about word choice, style, tone, etc. And you can think, would this resonate for me? Hope this helps. Take care.